What's up, everybody? Welcome to another R.T.O podcast. I've had guests of Mattdeguia and R.T.O, and now I have another very special guest, the man with the very deep voice, and from Estonia, MudanTV.
Hey guys, Thomas here.
Okay, so this is gonna first start out as a interview type of thing where I get to learn more about Thomas. And the first thing is, because you're from Estonia, do you actually speak Estonian?
Yeah, I do speak Estonian.
Can you say a little bit for the audience?
See on nii tore, et ma siin midagi teen.
What does that actually mean?
Oh, it means I'm grateful to be on your podcast.
Ah, that's great. So like with Estonia, like how similar is the language to Finnish?
It's pretty similar, I'd say.
So like when you went to the anime con in Finland, were you able to like, you know, get around and like communicate with everybody, or the staff at least?
To a degree, because mostly I talked with English with staff, but there was still some words. There are a lot of words that are exactly the same or similar, and some other that you like have to think about it, but you'll understand after a while. So it was pretty okay.
But okay, then, so were you born there, or how did you start learning to do English then?
How did I learn English?
Yeah.
I don't know, movies, TV, pretty much learned it when I was like 7 years or something.
Then when did you start doing it, like maybe learning like grammatically, or like, you know, like a high school or like college level type of stuff? Did you take classes or anything?
Well, it was like mandatory in my school, but by then I really didn't learn anything new from it.
Okay, thank you. The next one is like, why did you start? Next one is, why did you start doing anime like YouTube videos? You know.
Well, I had nothing else.
In your life.
Exactly. There was literally nothing else. No. So I tried to. I have done like sketch videos and comedy videos for like 8 years or 7 years, but those were pretty much just for me and my friends. And then I tried doing gaming for a year, which didn't turn out. And finally I realized that... Well, not today, yeah. But yeah, finally I realized that if I want to build an audience and do like something for the future, then I need to find something that I'm good at and keep on doing it. And there really wasn't anything else except anime and gaming, so yeah.
How did you get introduced to anime? What was your favorites? What were your first?
I think I was like at home. I was home alone, and my parents left for I don't know for like a month, and I remember downloading like Naruto was still running back then. There was like 8 episodes, and I thought like, oh, that seems cool. Let's download it. Then I was hooked, and I just watched for like 2 weeks straight. That's great.
It's always like, oh, I watched like Naruto, or like, you know, Pokemon, or like what was the first like big boy anime people say that like really you were like, oh my god, anime is awesome?
Yeah, those are pretty basic choices, but they're there for a reason, because
okay, then let's go on to like, with your YouTube, you have great editing. You know, you spend like 10 hours on every video, like or like most videos, you know, 10 hours of editing, and it's great because like you really do care. And like some, like there are simple things here and there, but they're all like more advanced things. Like I see, it's like, whoa, how did you do that? Or like other things like that. So like, where did you start learning, or like when did you start learning how to do all these like advanced type of editing tricks?
So I started like 9 years ago, when I just thought making videos was kind of cool, and I specialized in special effects, so After Effects, and I just wanted to create something that doesn't exist or isn't real. So not like vlogs or normal sketches, but yeah, I think my biggest inspirations were like Freddy W and Corridor Digital.
Those are the OG ones, original ones.
Yeah.
And then
so I saw some cool effects and tried to replicate them.
How long has it, you know, like, because like you've now created like your own type of style where you do certain things or like other things, like, you know, how long do you think it took you to get to that point, like where you feel really comfortable with everything?
But you think I have a style?
I think it has a certain style, the way you do things.
To be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I wouldn't say I have a style, or well, maybe I do a bit. I try to do some effects that are like unique to me, but I'm still really messed up and have not a clue where I'm going.
So let's say you have like an idea. It's like, oh, I want to do this and this and this. Like, how long would it take to make that idea happen? When you have like an idea for like a cool editing trick, like how long do you think that would take for you to figure out how to do it in the steps?
Oh, editing trick. Okay, so I don't say it would take long. Maybe if I have an idea, then I plan out the shots, and I usually, for the editing tricks, I do in watch or not. So those, I don't want to edit them over an hour because that would be too much for such a video.
Yeah, for like 2 minutes.
Well, the effect itself is more like 5 seconds, but but yeah, it doesn't take that long. I just try to do something creative and that I haven't done before. And if it's not that good, I'm not like on the level of Captain Illusion. Do you know that guy?
Oh yeah, he's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, he says that he like rotoscoped single threads on a guitar or something, and
oh my god.
I mean, I'm not gonna spend that much time on it, so yeah.
But yeah, rotoscope, like doing all this. There's so many things you can do with editing. It's like limitless, and like I always find it so fascinating, and I love it when someone really cares about their editing and all sorts of things, because like they're putting in the time, or they're at least getting someone that puts in the time because they care about the end goal.
Yeah, that's true, and I think it like looks better. And overall, it's like, how are you going to succeed in today's YouTube climate? You have to stand out a bit. Then
exactly.
I mean, if you don't have good scripts, then at least good anything helps.
Yeah. Then with editing, how did you meet the anime man, or quote Joey, for doing his editing? Like, how did that start happening?
Okay, so I'm doing a show called We Wars. It's where I invite people on and like challenge them.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so back a bit, I was in this. I did AniTuber anthology.
Yeah.
And there I met D-Cydia from Rebel House, and I invited him to do We Wars, where we did a challenge where we were supposed to like get senpais to notice us, and we had Aki and Joey as our targets.
Wow, okay.
And well, none of us won because they both didn't respond to anything that we did. But like, I think a couple weeks later, actually, Joey either watched the video or responded that he thought the video was cool, and we didn't really speak that much afterwards. But around half a year later, he contacted me again if I was up for editing, and he likes my editing style, so that's how we came to be.
All because of Weepwas. That brings me right to the what inspired you to start doing Weepwas, you know? Like, what was like, oh, I want to do this types of series on my channel where I get other anime YouTubers and do challenges in real life and all sorts of other things like that.
Well, exactly, because I thought it was really interesting to like get out of the comfort zone or do something other than just sit and review anime.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're beginning, it's really hard to get noticed or
exactly,
like, yeah. So a part of the idea was also to get like smaller AniTubers in there to like get more attention to them. So I tried to do like one big YouTuber so people would come for them, and the next one would be a smaller one. So, and yeah, I had a idea for that for like over a year before I even started it, but I waited until I had over 1,000 subs, because I mean, if I was lower,
some
then
backing, like
because people wouldn't like watch it, they wouldn't care that much.
Yeah.
And even right now, it's still one of my lowest viewed series that
so
takes
fun.
the most time to make.
I know, they're so fun and funny. What is, because like you do a lot of things like in real life, and like you need to record it. What was like one of the most memorable or like funniest things that was like off camera that you couldn't get recorded by accident or something like that?
Off camera, I can't even remember off the top of my head, because mostly everything happens on camera. But I know that like the funnest video that I did that I still remember was with Too Spooky, because there was so much back and forth between us.
Yeah,
and
that was a good battle.
It did take over a month to film, because I mean, he'd made a challenge, then he tweeted at me, then I did something in response, and that dragged on way too long.
So that was the one where you try to get like Glass Perfection to say, what was it, Boku no Pico's the best or something like that.
Yeah, that was the first challenge to like get a bigger YouTuber to review hentai or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, he did get a reaction out of him, but I failed.
It was a hard one to one up though, for sure.
Yeah, true.
I mean, we've had all sorts of other people like Evanito, you know, what was it, Too Spooky, Sawyer, and like all sorts of other things, which is great. I mean, it's like you're just like also like informing other people who these people are, but also trying to bring in more people to your audience or like to your type of content to see it's like if they like other things, because if they like this, you know, anime YouTuber, they'll probably like what I do too. So like, you know, it's a smart move.
And also it's like, I'd say it's the biggest reason why I have so many contacts right now, because like, yeah, collabing is really important, and this is a pretty good excuse to do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how I met like Too Spooky and Noxtacker and other people in that circle.
Yeah. But then, so the first way I got introduced to you was I watched the anime reviewers rant, and like, you know, one of your most popular videos. Did you expect it to get so popular in views?
Kinda, yeah, because I mentioned some of the biggest AniTubers out there, so I knew it was going to get more views than normal. And honestly, everything was pretty much as expected. I also expected backlash, but there wasn't that much of it, and there was a lot of support.
Yeah, because like I definitely understand, and I get, and I actually agree with all the points you make, where it's like, it's just that they saturate the concentration of review when you search it up on YouTube, or like when it's in the tags or whatever. It's so saturated with people who work hard on like writing the script and making the edits and getting the clips, like all that stuff. Like it, you know, it's harder to find, especially for your videos where you said like a lot of them were like on the 7th page or the 10th page, but it's like no one would ever go that far into the number of pages on YouTube. You know? Yeah,
exactly. I was like really frustrated in the beginning because it took me like 4 months to get to 10 subscribers, and like after half a year I pretty much began to see that like there's no chance of me to like trump somebody like Chibi Reviews, who dominates the first page of an anime. And so it took me like around half a year of anger to finally release that video.
Did any of them, like the ones, the anime episode reviewers, talk to you, like, you know, talk to you on Twitter, especially like Chibi, because you were like...
No. I know that Sawyer's... Wait, no. I know that Double for Anime saw my video, because he didn't comment on that video, but he commented on another video. And I know that Coach Provider saw it because he commented on the video. But I don't know anything about Chibi or Sawyer.
Because with Chibi, you paid $10 on his Patreon, and then you tried to do on Twitter, tried to do on all sorts of other things, and like nothing.
I mean, I tried to contact him a long time before that video, but no success. I don't think he was that active on Patreon. He had like $40 per month back then. Well, now he has over 1,000 or something.
I mean, like, how did you deal with like like, you know, in the comments, or like just like maybe messages on Twitter? It was like, oh, you're wrong, all these people are great, or like all this. It's like, I back them 100%. Like, how do you deal with that? Like,
well, I wouldn't say there's anything to deal with, because most of the people agreed with me, but the ones that didn't agree really didn't have any good reasons. There was some people who gave their own opinion, like they can do whatever they want, and I mean, okay, fine, everybody can do whatever they want in YouTube. I'm just saying why it's like garbage. But the ones that tried to explain themselves out of it didn't really have any good explanations. I tried countering some of them, but it was like kind of useless. And after a while I just gave up. I mean, it's not that like effective, or I don't care that much about what people say, because none of them have anything that good or interesting to say.
Okay. I mean, it is true, like, where they just back with them, or for some reason, like a lot of people say it's like, oh, I like them because it's like talking to a friend. Well, it's like, why don't you just go on Reddit or like Twitter and do a thread?
Yeah.
And I'm sure like a lot of people have reasons that are like somewhat decent of why they like this YouTuber, because they do episodic reviews, or like, I think the ones I hate the most are the reaction ones, where it's like live reactions of the episode, because it's literally the worst type of cancer-ass content I've ever seen for anime YouTubers.
To be honest, I can kind of even like agree with them, because they still have like reaction in the title. They're just, with those people, I can see how others would feel like watching, like when they say watching together with somebody.
Yeah.
Like that I understand, because you literally have somebody watching it with you.
I would rather live stream it, but never have it on my YouTube. Like live streaming. It's like, hey, we're watching this, and like hang out with us. And then like, so I can actually like, you know, interact with the comments and the chats.
It's definitely weird, but if there's a market for it, then I can't blame them.
And like you say, for an average, you take like maybe in total like 30 hours or like more to do a good video. And like, how is that spanned out? Like, does it take like a week, or does it take like 2 weeks to do all of it?
That was back then. I'd say I'm pretty fast right now. And like before, I used to take more time editing, and scripting was like 2 or 3 hours, but now it's kind of like 50-50. So I script for like 4 or 5 hours, maybe more, over a couple of days, and then I take around 2 hours to film and maybe 10 hours to edit, or a little less depending on the video. But most of my videos are also kind of pre-planned. Like when I come up with a good idea, then I just put it on the back burner. I'll start thinking about script or jokes for it, and some of them are pre-planned around month or 2 months or 3 months.
How long does it take to do the Watch or Not series? Because those are very short videos. I'm thinking like you can do it like in a span of like maybe 6-7 hours.
Oh no. Those are, I don't really count them as videos, that much more like filler content for my channel. Those take I watch a video for 20 minutes and film for 15 and edit in like completely depending on the skit. I can have the full video done in an hour or in like up to 4 hours.
Okay. It is, because it is very simple what you do, because you're not getting certain clips. You're like you're playing the video in the background, which is enough. And then like that's a big thing of getting copyright from certain clips. And like I've had multiple encounters where it's like, oh, we detected this and this and this and this, and I'm like, oh god. Luckily I didn't get a strike because I haven't uploaded yet. It was just rendered. It was like, you know, finished processing.
Scheduled or something.
Yeah, it was scheduled.
I mean, I still get copyright strikes and Watch or Not. Like half of my copyright strikes come from those. Yeah.
Because there is like that rule people say, it's like, oh, like the max you should do is like maybe like 7 seconds of a clip of anything. But like still, like, it depends on the company the show is coming from.
I mean, if they're manual detecting stuff, then nothing matters.
Yeah. I think that's all the questions I would like to ask for you for now, except that I went through your malice and see like, oh, let's see how compatible we are in liking series. And I went through it, was like, oh yeah, he's pretty good, I like this man. And then I saw one that you rated a 10 out of 10 was Kids on the Slope. I just recently, like only like a month ago, finished Kids on the Slope, and it was fucking fantastic. It was a great series.
I watched it a long time ago, and I just know that it was pretty impactful back then.
Yeah.
I just loved all of it.
Yeah, it was great. Next is, okay, so now we can talk about what you finished watching.
Are we compatible?
I didn't check because I didn't check the thing, but like I looked through, it was like, oh yeah, I agree with a lot of things you're doing, and it was like, yeah, we're pretty compatible, I would say, just from my glance, like for like 5 minutes looking at what you agreed what.
Okay, 70%, yeah.
Yeah, around like that. So now we can get to like the summer of 2018 and also talk a little bit of what you've seen for this season of fall. So we can start with summer of 2018.
Okay.
So what did you think?
I mean, I watched pretty much on a weekly basis 2 shows, which I think everybody did, which was like Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are the pretty basic ones.
Those are the basic ones. What are some different ones you watch? Because like, because doing YouTube, have you started watching more or less anime?
Oh, definitely less.
Yeah.
Like there were months where I didn't watch any anime at all, and for like the past year, I've only been watching anime for the sole reason of reviewing. But now I've tried to pick it up a bit and like actually get through them.
That is interesting because like the way now you've said multiple times, like you just used to just embrace everything and just like relax and just take it in. But now you're just like, whoa, this means this and that, and like, oh, and like the cinematography of this, like you're like taking notes while you're writing and you're not fully enjoying the series of how the director wanted you to enjoy it.
Yeah, and also it takes like way too much to film and edit stuff, so you just don't have time.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the anime reviewer's paradox. You need to watch anime, but you don't have time because you need to review anime, and it's just a continuous circle.
Yeah. But what was like a new thing you watched from the summer season that you continued watching?
Well, I watched pretty much all that I said I would watch. So like Cells at Work, which was pretty interesting, I'd say. The Angels of Death, that have you seen that?
I haven't finished it. I'm on episode 10 because I was on a hiatus for a little bit because of other things that was going on in my life. It was like, oh, I needed to do some things and then I'll get back to it. I think for what it was, the beginning was like, okay, it's somewhat interesting. And then in the middle, I was like, okay, this is kind of boring. And then around like the 10th and 9th episode, I was like, okay, it's kind of getting interesting again with the priest. Because
yeah, I'd say the first episode was good and it went downhill from there.
Yeah.
So it had like this like thriller vibe to it, but in the second episode, it was just like we are scary and I'm doing stuff, attacking like randomly walls, whatever.
I mean, like for anime, like it's so saturated on so many different shows, so many new studios being made. It's crazy on like the amount of anime we're seeing, and then also like the amount of quality we're getting. So every season, there's gonna be I would say at least 2 series that like make this like starlight or make the spotlight, and those 2 series. But when you compare it to like the 40 other series that were made this season, it's like only like 1% or like 5% of like what actually came out was good. And there's always like the mid-tier ones that are like 7s, but like those are like, oh yeah, you can just watch that every so often.
There aren't really that many actually good anime.
I think
like have you seen Hanebado?
Yeah, I finished that one. It was okay. The only reason I kept watching it was because the choreography and the animation for the matches are great. That's the only reason why I kept watching it. Because
I'd say this is the most boring show that I watched from this summer. It just got so mundane after the couple episodes.
I finished it.
Well, yeah, I forced myself through it.
Yeah.
Because if I start something, then I just have a tendency to finish it. Like I need to finish it. I can't stop.
Because on your mail you don't have anything that's like dropped. It's just always finished, which is the first thing was like, wow, that's interesting.
I mean, it disturbs me to like drop something.
I've dropped something where I was like 7 episodes in, and I was like, nah, I don't want to watch this anymore, and like I was like, I take it out of my schedule. Like this is because the way I do things is like I have like this is like the time I select a certain time in my day. It's like this is when I'm gonna watch anime, and then I'll get back to like my school life of college and study.
Yeah.
And then like when I have like more free time, like a big amount of free time, I was like, this is when I'll start writing a script or doing some editing and something like that.
That's what I also kind of tend to do, like give 3 hours a night to like 2 times a week to watch anime.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
I think here's a big thing. Do you prefer binging a series or do you prefer watching things weekly?
depends on the series, because honestly, if it's a really interesting series, then I will watch it weekly, like My Hero Academia or Shingeki no Kyojin. Those are the only two that were really interesting for me. Or like from the summer, there wasn't really anything. Oh yeah, before in spring, the third one that I watched was Megalobox. That was like fantastic. So new and interesting. Yeah, that's what I watched weekly also.
Yeah.
There's really not that many that I watch weekly. More often I binge.
I think the thing with me is like I prefer watching weeklies because I can just watch more series, because in the sense of when I'm binging something, I have to waste a whole day in my opinion. Like I waste a whole day of maybe watching like 5 episodes, 6 episodes, 7 episodes of anything. But with weekly, it's like, oh, I can spare 20 minutes of today right now to watch this one episode, and then like it's like a thing I can schedule in. But I can understand why people like watching things or binging things, because like they don't want to wait to see what happens in the next episode, or they just want to get, you know, the story going, and like they can skip through it really quickly if they don't need to watch one certain episode and stuff like that.
And if it's a big show, then you also kind of need to watch it weekly, or otherwise people will spoil it in Twitter or somewhere else.
Yeah, that's like the big thing, because that's the whole like Netflix debacle, you know? Whereas if Netflix owns a series, immediately it is handicapped of any popularity. It goes for like Violet Evergarden. Truly amazing series, but the amount of popularity it gets is not deserved of how amazing the show is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating, because like you watched the Sirius Jaeger, you watched like one episode of the Sirius Jaeger series.
Yeah.
And you said like, oh well, it has great choreography and fighting, which I do. Like that's the only reason why I kept watching. The storyline is like shit. It's like, what is the story here?
Okay.
But like the only reason I kept watching is because it had interesting choreography for fighting and cool, you know, cool shots and all sorts of things. But in the final episode, they didn't have any of that, and I was so disappointed. I was like, this was not a good fight, and it was just like so meh. And I was like, I'm so disappointed. It's like the first not good series from Netflix, because Netflix usually, whenever they get anime, they usually at least maybe do a little research to see maybe this is gonna be a good series, because they have like Agretsuko, or they have Violet Evergarden, or they have Little Witch Academia, and like all, you know, Kakegurui, and they have all these really great series, and maybe they have people to research like, oh, these are gonna be good series from these studios. But like I still don't understand why they don't show it weekly in any way, because it doesn't.
The thing is, we don't even have that many anime here on Netflix. Like I just searched up series, and I couldn't even watch it on Netflix.
Because I don't think it's like fully released on Netflix yet. I don't think it comes out until like January or something like that. You probably watched it on like one of the like parody, like pirated sites, and you made one of those videos where it's like, oh yeah, both sites are shit. It is true. Crunchyroll, like they finally added an HDMI player, but it's not that great. I still use that plugin. Yeah.
The point of that video wasn't even to like see what the best site or like compare pirate sites to. It wasn't a debate between pirates or legal.
Yeah.
I just watched 2 main anime sites and compared them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You just compare for what, like how friendly the UI is, and like how easy it is to get around it. And like you are correct, Will, like both of them have like stupid banner ads at the background that you cannot get rid of no matter what. And
I watch Netflix any day over any of them.
Yeah.
And I do.
I think another thing is like a contender is Amazon, because they finally got rid of that stupid thing where you had to pay extra with Prime. They got
the iStrike or something.
Yeah, Anime Strike, and they got rid of that, which is great, because now like a lot of anime from Netflix they own are really great. There was one called like After the Rain. They had Grand Blue. They had all sorts of other series like that. They have one this season where it looks really amazing, really great artwork, and like it seems like it's gonna be an interesting story. With Netflix, they somewhat understand like people of this community like watching it weekly, so they do it weekly. which is great. And like when I use the website, it's not that bad because they're a pretty big company. So I don't like. Maybe it's because I don't know. Crunchyroll needs like an actual competitor, which there is High Dive. Which have you used High Dive at all?
No.
High Dive is like a somewhat new. It came out like maybe like a year ago, but people.
I've seen some commercials. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's High Dive. And like I think the thing is like Crunchyroll was like the only website that has like, hey, we have legal streaming of anime, and now they finally need to get some competition so they're not like a powerhouse and can't like fuck us over with anything, because if they have competition, it's like they don't have the monopoly anymore in a sense.
Yeah, true. So you watch Crunchyroll most of the time?
I use Crunchyroll, like, they have, like, the Verb thing, which has the Funimation plus Crunchyroll thing, which is great. Sometimes I have to go to other sites if I want to watch a series that's, like, maybe, like, owned by Netflix, or, like, you just can't find it anywhere, but I like it. Because there are still series like that where, like, you see on Mal, like, they have, like, a really high score. It's like, oh, man, I really want to watch it. Where can I watch it? Nowhere that's legal? Great, I have to go to a different site.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always that struggle of, like, watching things legally, or, like, making sure you're not doing, or, like, taking money away from the company, which I think is a stupid thing to say. It's like, oh, your $5 a month is really helping the anime community.
Well, technically, it depends on how many people are giving that $5, but...
Yeah. But, I mean, like, in a sense, like, Crunchyroll is still a business, so it's like they're taking a percentage away from that monthly or yearly plan, and then like they have to distribute the extra from their profit to like so many different companies. So it's like somewhat minuscule. It's like it's not gonna help them make a whole new series, but it is gonna slightly help them stay above profit, probably.
Well, it does help them make a new series.
Yeah.
The High Guardian Spice.
Oh yeah. Have you seen? I've never seen any bit of it. I know
I've seen the trailer, but that wasn't really a trailer. That was more of the creators talking about it and showing a couple pictures of artwork.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that at all. It just doesn't seem like something I would enjoy. I don't know. Maybe if something on Twitter happens, so it's like, oh, you should watch it. But I mean. I
think a lot of people are gonna watch it just because of the drama surrounding it.
I mean, I think a lot of people who say the drama is because, like, oh, it's like it's a female, was it writer, director? I don't know. It's
the whole staff
is like female, right? Yeah, it's like that doesn't mean anything if the whole staff is female. The whole staff could be monkeys, and I don't care. Like, it's like I want to know what you worked on before. So I want to see your resume.
To be honest, if the whole staff was monkeys, I'd want to see that. That would be
that'd be interesting. That was like that is a tagline right there. Made by monkeys.
But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna watch it just to see how Crunchyroll handles it.
I think I might give it an episode to see how it goes. But I think it's just fascinating. It's like, oh, this is the only thing they're saying. It's like, oh, the whole staff is female. It's like, I don't really care that the whole staff is female because it's feminist and like great. Being a feminist is great and like you should support that. But just saying that's like a big reason you should watch it isn't like a big reason. I want to know like what you worked on before this.
Yeah, but the point behind it that some have said is also that they actually wanted the drama. It was like a move from them to.
It is kind of smart getting like the bad drama, but yeah.
Because they get popularity, and now a lot of people who are hating on it will watch the show.
Yeah, any popularity is good popularity, as we've seen from Logan Paul. But another thing is like you haven't. So like I was looking through your mail and you haven't seen Steins Gate Zero yet. Are you gonna pick that up anytime soon?
That's on my list. Yeah, I was waiting until it ended so I could binge it. But I have seen. I watched weekly up to like 7 or 9 episodes, but I just wanted to binge it. I don't think I could have waited on a weekly basis for it.
Oh, it was torture a lot of the times. Just like I gotta wait for this. I mean, that's what one of my friends was like. He's like, he was watching it weekly for a good amount of times, and then he stopped watching it, and then, like, he came back to be, like, 2 months later, was like, dude, I binged it. And I was like, how was it? fantastic, and it was like. I mean, like, Steins Gate Zero definitely finished the whole loop and finished the whole storyline of Steins Gate. Now, like, you know, it's great. I mean, I think there's gonna be like a special or an OVA coming out a little bit later, like a final like prologue thing.
Okay.
Maybe the prologue's in the manga, from like the light novel, a visual novel. I mean, like Steins Gate is an amazing series, and it really changed the game of like figuring out like a good like sci-fi to drama to romance like type of thing. Like they created a good balance of every character.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite series of all time.
For sure, it is an amazing series. I mean, always like it's slow at first, and I think that's why people were like, "Oh, just watch it," but it is slow at first, and then
I'd say it's like the first episode actually wasn't slow, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I think it did a good job for what it was trying to do.
Because like it still built enough interest. It tackled the time travel paradoxes, and I actually wanted to Google stuff and research the people. But I'd say it does get slower with like second and third episodes up to, I don't know, 5 or 7.
I mean, there's that, and like, so here's another question: what is your favorite genre you search for when you're looking for anime? Like, if it has this tag, you're like, oh, I'll give it a watch for sure.
No, I'm not looking for anime. At all. It's mostly just recommendations, and like I think every anime watcher has just this insane list of what they want to watch.
Yeah,
and
your
I feel
list
like
is very small. Yeah, it's like
because like I don't feel like there's need to add any more search for recommendations if you have a list already. So I'm just dealing with getting through what I want to watch right now in my list before I start searching up new ones, and that hasn't happened for like past 7 or 8 years.
Okay. We can move on to any new series that you watched that came out this year.
But actually, I want to know your opinion on Happy Sugar Life.
Happy Sugar Life. Yes, I did finish it. I just finished it because it was a very interesting concept from the very first episode of this girl who wants sweetness and you know, like there's things with like it's kind of like subtly smart, like how like the two girls' names are Salt and Sugar. It was like, oh cool. It's like it doesn't really add anything, but there's a nice touch. But I think in the sense of like it's a series about being a sociopath. Where it's like you know the rules and you know the things, but you still break them because it benefits you. You break these rules because it benefits you, and it benefits you being happy with this little girl. And obviously, like almost every character we get introduced from the series is a complete crazy person. And that's kind of the reason why I kept watching it, because I was like, what's the next person we're gonna meet, and what's the problem in their mind?
This is also one of the problems for me, because like every episode up to like first 5 episodes they introduced a new crazy character, and I thought it was just going to be like this sort of a episodic comedy where they just keep throwing on new characters with new problems, but thankfully that stopped.
And I think they ended the series and like it ended very, I don't know, I would say like okay, it ended and it was like I don't get it, like where it's like, oh, the little girl is kind of what is she like? She's probably grown up now, but where it's like, okay, cool. Like she learned, like a pink-haired girl learned the lesson. It's like, oh, I love you, and I'm gonna protect you, and all that sorts of other things.
That was kind of stupid. Yeah.
I think it's like, well, it's like I was just like when it was like, nah, I think both of them should have been dead no matter what.
Same.
It was like, just because your body went down first doesn't mean her body's still going at the same speed from that fall. They're just both gonna like combine and fuse together and dead. That's my thought.
Is it based on a manga or a light novel or anything?
I believe it is based off of a manga. I can double check that.
Manga, yeah, that's the source. Yeah. So I wonder if they wanted to do a sequel or anything, but I wouldn't say. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's I know that you haven't started Banana Fish. Are you just gonna wait until that ends and just binge it?
Yeah.
Because I do know that Banana Fish is going to adapt the whole manga series because it's gonna be 24 episodes.
Yeah, because I thought it was 12, but yeah, I saw the 24, and that's yeah. I want to wait until it finishes. I've already heard like
Amazing
stories
things,
and
yeah.
stuff.
It's like, oh,
So I'm
dude, you
quite
gotta watch.
interested.
It's like fucking amazing. It's like yeah. I think I really love Banana Fish because it reminds me of like, you know, the you know, intensity of like watching older series from like Trigun or like Cowboy Bebop or like stuff like that. And it's the great, like, you know, relationship between our two main character guys with the Japanese kid and main character that's blonde, Ash, and like the relationship and like, you know, the interactions we see from these two characters really are like a good fresh breath air from what the actual show is. And like that's a good combination of like, you know, you get all this intensity and then you get a slight release and like refresher and restart, and then you get back to the intensity, which I think is a good formula so that you don't get crazy bored and you don't get predictability out of the show.
True.
And then I don't know, the series is great overall. They have great music, they have great openings, they got great endings. I think you would enjoy it from what I've seen, what you like.
I'm pretty sure I will.
Yeah. What else did you watch anything? I know you watched Goblin Slayer. Did you watch anything else from this season?
I think I've pretty much watched most of them by now.
Oh, did you watch like the first episode of a lot of them? Of a lot of series?
Yeah.
What have you seen?
Okay, so I watched Sword Art.
I did not watch that because I don't care anymore.
I watched the slime one.
Oh, okay. Was that okay? I keep hearing like it's okay, but that's still not. It's not enough for me to convince me to continue watching it, to like want to watch it.
Did you watch the first episode?
No, people just say it's okay, and I was like, if it's just okay and not like, oh, it's amazing or it's great, then it's like it doesn't. Like I'm already watching a lot.
I mean, it was the first isekai in a while that actually like made me want to continue.
Okay.
Because the main character isn't a boy or a guy who has a harem.
Yeah,
and
it's a slime.
Yeah. So that was a really nice twist on it.
Have you seen the Bunny Senpai one?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Did.
So, I think everyone's first impression when they thought they were going to start the series is, oh, it's going to be an ecchi. And
I wouldn't say that, honestly.
Because what is this summary say? Okay. So the summary is...
Oh, the puberty syndrome.
Puberty syndrome, yeah. But like, I think they had a different synopsis somewhere else, so it's like, I just thought it was going to be...
Okay,
like,
if the name of the anime is called Bunny Girl Senpai, then that's kind of like a nod to it.
Yeah.
But after watching it, no.
It's definitely fascinating for what it's doing, and there's definitely some like theories and like philosophical and like all sorts of other things that like is you know vacuum your brain. It's like, oh yeah, that's interesting.
It was interesting for what it was.
There was some like definitely good psychology things that they're trying to do and like chemistry things and all sorts of things. It's great.
Have you seen Radiant?
Yes.
The new wannabe shonen.
Yeah, wannabe shonen. Like it's like the Black Clover, but the kid's got magic.
And worse somehow.
I don't mind it. I feel like for me, when I was watching the first episode, like when they did the comedy bits where it's like you know this like the bubble where it's like zoomed in on the kid's face like that. Like when I saw that, I was like, oh, that kind of reminds me of like Full Metal Alchemist. So it's like. It's like in that sense of like, you know, absurdity of comedy in the sense of that. It's like, oh, it's like that's kind of like what Full Metal does a little bit.
Okay.
And
but I felt it was a bit too like cliche or boring.
Yeah.
And the comedy aspects were just so basic.
I think it is a pretty generic series, but like I mean, if you're looking at a guy who's still watching Black Clover.
Well, I heard that it gets better after 100 episodes or something.
It does, and I want to make a video about like how I hate it and I love it at the same time. I mean, it's like I feel like it's one of those series where it's like it just brings you back to your childhood, where it's like it's just like one of those like nice wholeheartedly, you know, like fun series you can just watch every so often. Where it's like, oh yeah.
You're talking about Black Clover or Radiant?
I think it's like both in a sense, like Radiant and Black Clover. Where it's like it's that heartedly like just like pure, just like kids would enjoy the shit out of this. It was like I just go back to that time. It's like, oh, this is great. But like I kind of like turn off my brain. It's like I don't really want to analyze it, and I just want to take it in for what it is, and like trying to get back to like when I was just like an anime watcher, and that's kind of like how I want to enjoy that series.
I mean, I've tried to do it, and I did it with Black Clover too, but like it just wasn't that good, honestly. Like, if you have a flashback in the second episode, and I even tried watching it drunk, but even that didn't help.
A flashback that was fully anime only, I believe.
Yeah, and then they repeated the same flashback a couple more times in the first 10 episodes, and
yeah, it's definitely like a very, very bad start, but then they finally get back on the. It's like they were at the starting line, and like they instantly tripped and fell on their face, and then it took them like a long time to get back on their feet to finally start actually winning the race. But they finally, like, it's like kind of like a marathon. They finally caught up in a sense, like they're better for sure.
Cool.
Because I think with Black Clover, it's like it was for sure like it was like, oh my god, why am I still watching this series? And then it became like you see like really cool animation, and you see like actually fascinating, and like the main character like you actually kind of root for the main character finally for once. And he was like, oh my god, this is happening, wow.
Well, people have said that the manga is actually good, so
yeah. I mean, that's another reason why people like hated the series, is like, oh, it's not true to the manga, and like all sorts of other things like that, which is very true. Like I heard like it like stretched like a whole chapter or something like that to like one episode or something like that. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, what else have you watched from the fall season that really like piqued your interest that you maybe want to do a video about?
Nothing.
Really?
Well, Goblin Slayer is right now the good one. But yeah, pretty much the Slime is the second one, and I'd say Zombieland Saga.
Oh, Zombieland. I did watch those episodes. I definitely did not expect for what happened at all from the first episode.
It seemed to be kind of a basic zombie flick, but then it was mixed it with idols, and
then it mixed it with metal music. Yeah.
It's definitely something new and captivating.
It's something where it's trying to just be different, and I kind of like it. Where it's just doing, let's see, it's kind of like in the sense of like almost like Pop Team, it's like let's just do whatever with it.
Yeah, but I wonder if they're gonna like keep it up, or it's gonna fall apart pretty fast.
Because in the second episode they changed a couple things, but like it's not that big. It was like, oh, that's really cool and fun. So I don't know. I think Zombieland was definitely an interesting one, was because in the sense like you didn't expect all these twists and turns where it's like it's first like, oh, it's a girl, and then it's like, oh wait, she's a zombie, and it's like, oh wait, she's gonna become an idol. It was like, okay, and then it's like, oh wait, this idol is screaming death metal music. So it's like there's so many twists and turns where it's like it kept me on my feet of guessing what's gonna happen next. And it's like that's probably why I enjoyed it as much as I did.
I think that's why most people loved it.
Yeah. I mean, there is Goblin Slayer, which you like. A lot of people were like, there's so many people who's like they hate. It was like, oh, Goblin Slayer is like stupid or whatever. It's like, oh, it's gone too far. It's like obviously like they never watched anime if they say it's gone too far.
I mean, the drama surrounding it, I wouldn't ever have expected it to become so big.
Everyone became, it's like so controversial. Like, oh my god, there was a rape scene. It was like, it was one implied rape scene or one implied gangbang. You know, it's like, okay, sure. I mean, I think the best synopsis you can give for this series is like what would actually happen if you were in like a real life fantasy RPG.
Yeah, it's a dark fantasy anime, so that's also kind of new when comparing to previous isekais where it was just everybody was young and happy and had no problems.
This is like what would actually happen if you were in this world. Like, it's dark.
Have you seen Petantic's video on it?
I don't think so yet.
Because she compared it to Sword Art Online, like how that show also had a rape scene and everybody cared or nobody cared, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But like, you can't really compare something that was overall supposed to be family friendly and fun with one clip showing rape to something that from the get-go was supposed to be dark. That was like...
I mean, I'm gonna continue watching the series. Hopefully, like you said, like hopefully it's not just only goblins that we're gonna kill.
Oh, I've seen some pictures from the manga, and oh god, it's gonna get so much worse.
Oh, interesting. I do want to see how far it can get.
Yo, it's gonna get much worse.
I'm excited then. There's also that series from. Have you seen the Trigger series that's called like SSSS.Gridman?
Yeah.
That was a. It's not that great.
I didn't like it. It was, well, the animation was kind of crap, and I'm not a fan of this kind of huge mecha shows.
Not, I don't know. Mechas are very like
well,
it's like a kind of niche genre.
I mean, it's like a different type of mecha because like Neon Genesis Evangelion and it's pretty cool, but this is more of the old-timey classic ones where they have like these miniature cities with monsters fighting each other slowly, and I don't know, it feels kind of old to me.
I think I did watch the second episode, and I think the second episode is still slightly better, but I don't know if I'm gonna continue watching it. I'll give it one more episode and see how I feel about it. I mean, there's so many other series. Like, I do think that this season is better than summer season.
Oh, what?
If you compare,
really?
Yeah, if you compare, like, if you take out like the sequels or like the continuations, if you compare it to like original series that came out from summer to fall, I feel like, in my opinion, I liked fall better than summer.
Interesting, because I definitely say the summer season for me had much more shows that I wanted to watch than the autumn season right now.
Well, it was like the spring season, there was My Hero, and that was great. Like, spring bought My Hero Academia season 3, which was an amazing season.
Well, it had Megalobox, it had Hinamatsuri.
Yeah, spring is a super strong competitive like top season. I think spring is still better. I think spring is still the best, but I do like fall better than the summer season, because from the summer season I only like 2 series that came out that were originals, which is Banana Fish and Cells at Work. But from...
But you didn't watch Grand Blue?
Oh, I did watch Grand Blue. I did like that, but not as much as how I loved Banana Fish or Cells at Work.
Okay.
Like I was watching it, and like it's like, for sure it is funny from time to time, and like all sorts of other things. And there was like the other series that was like the schoolgirls in like the club, where like it was like extreme faces and extreme, like, you know, detailed art of like grotesqueness of, you know, the from Crunchyroll. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's
from Crunchyroll.
It's called like Asobase.
Oh, okay.
And there was that, and that was also like, I would say I gave it the same score as Grand Blue. It's like they both have, like, in a sense, somewhat similarities in comedy, where it's intensity and all sorts of like that.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that for me, I like this season just a little bit better, because there are some series that really piqued my interest already from just the first episode. Like, obviously there's Goblin Slayer, which was like, okay, the series is gonna go somewhere, and I want to see where that is. There's this series that Amazon owns called, I think, The World in Colors, and it's very beautiful.
The one where she goes back in time?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you watch that one?
Yeah, the first episode.
I thought it was very interesting, and I was like, I want to see where it goes with this one, because just looking at the art, looking at how much they care with like showing how like colorful and beautiful the world is, and which is kind of implying like this is what our main character girl is missing out on. You know, it's like, I want to see where that goes, and like it looks very beautiful, and like I'm liking where the story is going, so that's for sure. We have JoJo, which is great. I get to keep watching JoJo. There is the bunny one. So like for me, there's more series that are originals and like brand new that piqued my interest more than from summer, and that's just my personal opinion.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'd say the opposite, pretty much.
I mean, like, everyone's got their own thing. It's like, oh, well, because, like, for me, I'm watching, like, 15 different series.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I used to be like that a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great, like, just getting to watch, like, trying to watch as many. Like, I think that's what's so amazing about this community is, like, where, like, every season, people will try to watch as many series as possible to get in the know of everything. And, like, you can't say that about a lot of other, like, communities of anything.
But the question is, why?
Yeah.
Why would people watch so many shows, even if they're crap?
I don't watch the crap ones. If it's crap, I just, like, next
No,
one.
but people watch, like, you said 15 shows, and that's true. They watch, like, a lot of them.
Yeah. It's a lot of times people watch them because it's entertaining enough where they can watch the whole episode and they just keep doing it and ever and see, like, where it goes. It is fascinating how people watch so many series, as myself.
It's interesting how they have the time to watch so many series.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand, like, well, maybe if you're in school or something and you have nothing to do, but
Yeah.
it's pretty difficult, especially if you're an anime YouTuber.
Because I just been trying to watch as much as I can, but then there's also college for me, where it's like, the college is the biggest reason why I haven't made a video in, like, a month. Where it's like, I just was on and off on a script for, like, a whole month, because I had to study, or I had exams, or I had, like, a homework to do. It took me, like, hours to do. Where it was like, if I didn't needed to do this, I could have had a video out by now. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
in a sense, like, just like your life, and, like, also you trying to watch, like, there's so many factors, like, when you can get a video out, and the factors like how much anime you can watch to keep a good schedule.
And I'd say even I'm a bigger fan of Netflix these days. Like, for relaxation and just watching something interesting.
I mean, Netflix is great because they actually have a good, website where, like, it looks nice and it's easy to use and all sorts of other things.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Crunchyroll or Kiss Anime or any other, like, website for
Definitely.
legally reasons. But I mean, it is fascinating to see, like, how far, like, the anime community has grown, where it's like, back then, if you say, like, oh, I'm a fan of anime, it's like, oh, okay. But, like, now if you say, like, people go, it's like, oh, what do you watch? You're like, da 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 da, and, like, it's great.
It still depends where we live, mostly.
Yeah, because, I mean, how is it, like, being an anime fan in Estonia?
Well, not a lot of people watch it here. So it's still kind of like, oh, you watch anime.
Yeah,
You're weird or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely gotten better over time, which is great.
And it's gonna get better.
It is gonna get
Definitely.
better. But, I mean, that is the question is, like, when is it too far where it's, like, gone, like, too mainstream? Like, that's a good question. It's like, do you think it's gonna be really bad when it gets so mainstream or something like that?
I don't see why it would be bad. Because, I mean, what's there to lose when it becomes mainstream?
Yeah. It is that, but, like, when it comes, I think the only thing you could say when it becomes mainstream is then it becomes companies want to buy this or get licenses for these series because it's now mainstream, and they know they can bring in a different audience, which in quote will bring in more money. And then when that happens, when companies demand or want licensings for series, it's that now these companies in Japan have to make more series. And, like, it was like, oh, we gotta make more because they demanded it, or, like, something like that. It was like, now we get increase of quantity, but then our quality either declines or stays the same, but we just get more shit series.
Yeah, but who cares? We still this already so many shit series.
Yeah, that's
and
for sure.
You can just watch like 2 or 3 that you like.
That is very true. I mean, that's a lot of people is like casually. It's they just like watch like, oh, like My Hero or Attack on Titan like weekly or something like that. Or like other people, it's like they watch like almost everything, which I'm on. It's like I watch almost anything because like either maybe if I watch it, it inspires me to make a video about it where I can connect it to something and I can write a good script about it. That's kind of like why I watch so many series. It's like maybe I can write a script about this series or something like that.
Interesting.
That's a big reason of why I watch so many series. It's because like, well, it's like I can do anything with this series. It's like, can I make a script out of this series? Maybe, and like that's how I look at it.
Okay. Because I mostly just look at the name or synopsis or just an idea of the anime, and then I before reviewing it, before watching it, I already know that I want to make a review out of it.
Because I always like I have to go in blind, watch the episode, and then recap of what I watched, and then try to figure out what everything means, and then I see it's like, can I make a video out of this?
It depends on how much time you have, because you can't really watch like 5 series and expect to make a video weekly.
Yeah. And like I always like pick and choose like which ones I want to do a video on. It's like obviously I pick the ones that interest me the most, and then I do one that has the most popularity, no matter like just to bring in viewers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like why you make the watch or not series, because you just try to ride on like the popularity of that series.
Something new and recent.
Yeah. I mean, like being in the, like it's great being in the anime community because you meet all these great people and you meet so much talent. Like meeting you or meeting LAKEY, they're like such talented people, and like you see how much you and like all other people like care with everything. And like that's kind of like why I started this. Like, I want to meet people like this, and like I just want to do my own thing and see how I can grow with doing my own thing. And I mean, it's great. I'm meeting like all sorts of cool people, like how I'm meeting, like talking to you for a podcast, and like being on a Discord and all sorts of other things, and it's great. I mean, like, what did it feel for you when you like started getting like a somewhat like viewing? It's like, oh wow, there's like a good amount of subscribers now.
I'm not sure. It's happened all very gradually. There wasn't really a big spike anywhere. Because
for years you like people was like, oh, MudanTV, like I've heard of him slightly, but then now finally people are like, oh, I've like watched a video or so from MudanTV. It was like you've somewhat made a name for yourself already in the community.
Well, I've made weekly videos for over 2 years now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just guess people pity me because I spend way too much time on videos that nobody watches.
It's fine. I mean, yeah.
But that's true. I mean, I think the first one I did collab with Anime Balls Deep just watched my Hero Academia video.
Yeah.
Back when it wasn't popular, and said like, oh, you spend so much time on your skits and stuff, and let's do a collab. And that actually helped me get over the first hurdle, which was 100 subs.
Yeah, I mean, like, I only just passed 100 subs, like, maybe during July, so it was a couple months ago. And I'm somewhere, I think I'm like 146 or something like that. I mean, like, especially when you start, it is so depressing where it's like it's like you like put like work into this, and you see the views or you see whatever, it's like nothing. And like you see, I think that's the biggest thing you shouldn't do is like you look at your video and then compare it to another video. I think that's the worst thing you could ever do.
But I think it's impossible to avoid that.
Yeah, because you look at like, I think that's why I hate review reaction things, because I see it as like, you're not doing anything, but I'm doing like all this work to try to make an entertaining video.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I mean, have you seen anything else? I mean, like, we're getting close to the end of what the time I want to be at. What else do you think
from the fall?
Yeah.
Well, I saw the Romeo and Juliet, or something called Juliet.
Yeah, it's like Juliet School something.
Yeah.
I did hear something about that. I hear people say it's like actually good.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know.
It was okay, I'd say.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been watching JoJo, or have you not? Are you not caught up in?
No. Yeah, I want to like binge, I guess, the series.
Yeah. JoJo is definitely an interesting and great series. It's one of those series where it's like you start watching it and you're kind of confused, and then you continue watching it and it's like, no, I love this confusion.
Well, I have seen the first 2 seasons of it, and I know I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just needs to finish for me to continue.
Yeah. I think the season that's going on right now, it's pretty good. I'm liking it a lot. So because I kept it anime only. And have you been doing that for like? Cause like, what's your status on manga? That's a good question.
I used to read some of it, but usually I don't.
So are you just like watching anime and that's it? It's like you don't really go out. Okay. Cause that's kind of it is for me. It's like I want to read a lot of mangas, but then again, I would prefer having the actual book. But then having the actual book and getting the whole series is very expensive.
That's true. The only thing that I watched before watching the anime was Assassination Classroom, which was really awesome, and the anime was it was okay, but not that great.
I think the anime is pretty good. I hear a lot of people say like the manga is better, which
well, it had more backstory to everybody, and also I read Gantz before watching the anime, but I only watched like the first episode or half of it because it was just so horrible.
Yeah. Okay. I think that is the end, because I think we finished. Like I got the interview, I got what you thought of the season, and I got what you thought of this season. So thank you so much for being on this podcast and allowing me to question you.
No problem. It was pretty fun talking to you.
Oh yeah, so much. And I would love to do like a legit collaboration on your channel or whatever.
Of course.
Oh, wait. Final question is like, what's your plan on doing? Because you finished Oui Lele season 1. What's your plan on season 2? You can talk about that for the ending closure thing.
Well, I've planned it since even before I finished the first season, but I still I already have a schedule, but I'm just waiting to like get in contact with a couple of people. But I have a list of all the people that I want to have, and I've contacted most of them, and I just need to do some logistical planning, set up some new stuff, because I want to elevate it, I guess, learn from all the mistakes I made in season 1 and make it more interesting in every possible way for season 2.
Can you hint at anyone that you might want to get on the second season?
I mean, wanna get? I wouldn't say I want to get anybody, because everybody who I want to get, I already have.
Oh, okay.
If that helps anything.
Okay. Do you want to like say like future people that are gonna be on it, or do you want to keep that secret?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Give me a number from 1 to 10, because I have a list of all the people I have.
Okay,
I can give you that.
6.
Okay, so that's actually a friend of mine, a small YouTuber called Sea Lion, who does more gaming video stuff.
Okay. But okay, with that stated, be excited, because that's a good reason to get to his channel, because he does great editing, and his Oui Lele series is actually really fun to watch, and it's great. But please check out MudanTV if you have not. Know when he is. I mean, he's way bigger than me, but like by times like 500. But yeah, you're a great person. It was really great talking to you. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, that is it, everybody. Goodbye.
Okay, bye.